So, we just saw a really cool demo that Steve spun up around the Aurora platform that illustrates the power of how quickly these modular solutions can very accurately impact the immediate customer experience and have a photographic memory that remembers some additional purchase indications, preferences, and behaviors. So I would love to hear, just in case someone wants to watch this video now, Tati, your thoughts on how powerful the modularity is of these customer experiences and how fast you can kind of insert this right into a retailer's environment to start proving out that ROI and reducing that time to value to kind of get going with AI as opposed to maybe talking about it and thinking about it and researching it.
And anyone that hasn't watched, it's a few minutes, watch the demo. It's an amazing way to see how simple this is, right? And these are very real issues, right? We're trying as retailers, you're out there as leaders of sales organizations, consumer-driven sales organizations, you're looking to bring people back. You're looking for them to purchase more every time they come. You're looking for them to come and purchase more often. These are real problems. You're looking for them to return less often, and if they do return, that is a good experience that continues to build that loyalty. So to solve the modularity, and I was explaining this to someone yesterday, in fact, because they were thinking about modularity as something that wouldn't solve a problem, that would just be so specific and so that you have to buy modularity equaling like something that's out of a box doesn't solve my problem. That's not it. Modularity is picking, the way we're using the concept is you're going to pick a problem, right? In this case, we're talking about the very real situation that does your system, do the people that work with your customers every time they have an interaction with them, do they remind them? Do they offer additional products? Do they remind them of what can be done? Do they offer additional assistance? Alec, the experiences you had and you shared with us before, does the retailer offer to call to let you know that a new product, a new version, a new accessory has come online, is available now? The answer most of the time is no, they don't offer it. And then you have a second piece to this is even if they offer it, will they follow up with it? So you have so many opportunities for that gap to exist. And we're talking here at the very minimum, hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're really talking about a multi-million, multi-billion dollar opportunity, and what brings me back to is, would you like fries with that? Right? That's like,
so true.
It's really that simple. And by automating this, by putting this in a brain that will do this every single time, and not only that, on the demo, it offers me first of all, it asks me if I run, and we can make it more complex, asking me about what kind of sport I'm into. So it makes the right, it offers the right choices of product for me. Then it asks what do I like the most, and then it saves that information. So it will come back to me and it will let me know that that style has a new upgraded version. That style is now on sale. Whatever I want it to say to that customer in a way that is automated. It's not up for people to remember. You don't need to. And yes, you continue to have a very important piece on the relationship of associates, of the brand, but this is an enhancer of your brand like never seen before. And that's what we're talking about, modularity, because the moment this hits the ground, you see the dollars.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in on that. And Steve, I'm going to pass it to you because I think you nailed it, Tati, on a couple of different levels. But I want to go to Steve from a data infrastructure and platform perspective. So the way Tati just described the modularity versus the way maybe someone's perception was previous, could we just unpack a little bit, from your perspective of when you think about siloed data sets in retail environments that prevent optimized customer experiences, prevent the memory from remembering what Tati shared, and then how Aurora steps right into that and solves for that, and speak a little bit, if you could, about, without getting too much in the geeky weeds that I love, but the data infrastructure, the data platforms, and knocking down walls between data sets to ensure that this is exactly what Tati just described, high impact and fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you think about that demo, right, there's really three components. The first piece is the consumer experience, right? Meeting the consumer where they're at and having a voice conversation, right? Conversational AI. And that really is just kind of expanding the customer support side of every retailer. The second piece is knowing who that consumer is. And that aspect has the need to tap into the brain or multiple source systems to understand who's calling, and that could be a CRM system, that could be a customer data support system. So the ability to tap into both those and then pull that data together. And then the third piece is knowing the information about that retailer's product catalog, what they're selling, how they're selling, are there deals available, right? And so that might be in a separate source system, right? That might be across two different source systems. That's e-commerce, one that might be a product catalog type system. Maybe it's a homegrown type thing. So the fact that Aurora can sit on top of all that and tap in, pull that data where it's needed, and then real time have that conversation back is hugely powerful. And then some of the things we talked about last time, Tati, around like, well, what if the conversation hits an exception, right? What if the consumer asks a certain question that the AI doesn't necessarily have authority to answer the right way? Well, then it has to integrate with that customer support system on the back end where there's a human in the loop to say, yep, that's good, or escalate it and get approval for XYZ. Plugging all that stuff in from an infrastructure standpoint, as well as making it seamless. I think people don't understand what can be done. And actually turning it back to you, Tati, I mean, do you think like retailers understand that this type of consumer experience is available to them? Do they know these days that like they can do this conversational AI and make it seamless like that?
I don't think they know it's available to them,
Yeah.
and I don't think they know it's available at this speed, with this type of modularity, with much lower cost than they imagine that this is. You look at this. I think as a retailer or as a leader, you look at this and you think, huge dollar signs next to it. Big, top Fortune 50, Fortune 100 companies only can afford this type of technology and can do this. And they also think of long timelines and large teams dedicated to all of this, which is not at all. And I say this because I was in that camp myself a year ago.
Right.
As connected as I am with digital transformation, my entire career with technology and all of these things, and having been on the other side of this, I didn't know it could do all of this in such a simple way, and one thing short thing I want to say about all of this is like you're looking at this and thinking, all right, why is this different with Aurora or working with someone, in the defense of domain experts and people because you need that experience is still something that you build together. So this is not just the AI creating your experience. This is AI bringing your experience and what you want to see to life. Right. You may not be able to articulate what that is, but you know your brand better than anyone. You know your product better than anyone. What this does is take that and run with it 100 times faster, 1,000 times better than you've seen in the past.
Yeah, and the tools are there to do it, right? The tech is there to do it. So.
Yeah, I'm going to just throw one comment in there before we wrap up. I know we want to try to keep this one tight as well, but I think everything that you all just said is spot on. And I love that you're, humble, confident, Tati, to suggest that you weren't necessarily aware of the things that you are today versus, a year and a half ago. I think that if I were on the other side of one of these, screens and I was watching this, one of the things that I would challenge, folks to consider is if you don't think it's real, give it a shot, right? Bring a couple of difficult questions into an environment, paint a scenario, put a schematic together of what your data infrastructure might look like. And I can guarantee you that it is possible. It's just a dimension of bringing together the right people and the right technology. And in the defense of domain experts, and I will always defend and lionize them because I love technology, but at the end of the day, there's so much nuance to this stuff. You got to do it the right way. But as the guy that has the worst shopping experiences in the history of mankind, please fix this because it's terribly annoying. And I want to spend more money with my loyal brands that I'm loyal to. But I'll tell you, if somebody else that competes with these brands figures this stuff out, I'm gone because I'm tired of this. It's horrible. Anyway, how about that for an ending? Thank you, Tati. Thank you, Steve. As always, a pleasure.
Thank you.
See y'all.